Community members meet to watch presidential nominees face off. And an Iowa City staple stays for a little while longer.
The Hawkeyes look to bounce back against Troy.
Don't bring out your sweaters just yet. We still have summer heat in Iowa City.
All that and more
coming up right now on DITV.
Good morning from Iowa City. It's Wednesday, September 11th, and I'm Hannah Lipsky.
And I'm Sarah Gala.
And the third member of our team, Joel Keller, is live outside to tell us today's weather story. Now, Joel, do these cooler temperatures mean fall is finally here?
Thanks, Hannah. Unfortunately, we aren't quite to the fall weather yet. It is currently 57 degrees and sunny here at the Iowa River Terrace here behind the IMU. The clouds will continue to stay away the rest of the day today and tomorrow. Later in the afternoon, though, it will get back to that summer heat with a high of 85. But when the sun goes down, it will get a little chilly, so don't forget your layers. Thursday will be a near copy of today with a low of 57 and a high of 85. I'll have the rest of the forecast in a bit. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Joel. Two presidential nominees met on stage ahead of the election in November. DITV's Assistant News Director, Jace Bertrand, has key takeaways from the second presidential debate.
Former President Donald Trump returned to the debate stage on Wednesday, nearly 3 months after squaring off against current President Joe Biden. Now debating Vice President Kamala Harris, several changes were made to the format at the request of the Republican candidate's campaign, including muted mics when one participant was not speaking, no live audience, and no opening statements, but rather one closing statement. For many voters, this was Harris's first chance to introduce her policies if elected president. Several key issues were discussed, including the economy.
I imagine and have actually a plan to build what I call an opportunity economy.
We're doing tariffs on other countries. Other countries are going to finally, after 75 years, pay us back for all that we've done for the world.
Abortion, immigration, and the wars in Ukraine and Israel. Both candidates were also questioned on controversies during their terms, such as the January 6th Capitol riots and the U.S. military's chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan.
I had nothing to do with that other than they asked me to make a speech. I showed up for a speech. I said, I think it's going to be big.
The president at the time invited the Taliban to Camp David, a place of storied significance for us as Americans.
While the candidates faced off in Philadelphia, several groups met to watch the debates in Iowa City. I'm sending it to DITV's Julia Rhodes, who was at one of these watch parties and met with some of the viewers.
Thanks, Jace. I'm here at the airliner where the Young Americans for Freedom are hosting a watch party to see the candidates face off. Conservatives at the event were in support of Trump before watching the debate and were ready to hear more on his plans for the country.
I think that Trump has done a fantastic job reaching out to voters from all aspects, not just, the certain elites or certain classes of people. I think he's done a great grassroots approach to reaching people.
As the debate commenced, some attendees felt dissatisfied with Harris's responses to the questions and her plans for the future.
And I think that's really the key for voters in terms of saying, hey, you can't just pivot from things and claim something different now. Why didn't you do it? You had 3.5 years. You can't just hide behind things and say this is why the world is in shambles.
Many onlookers were content with the outcome of the debate and what it presented to viewers, especially young people across America.
It's great for everyone to get to see both sides. You shouldn't just read one side or the other. So I think it was an educational debate tonight.
The debate answered questions and sparked curiosity within the conservative groups in Iowa, and many are looking to see how this plays out in the election. While the conservative-minded at the university met at the airliner, I'll send it to Kayla Smith, where the other side of the political aisle got together to watch the debate.
Thanks, Julia. I'm here at Big Grove Brewery, where the Johnson County Democratic Party is hosting one of many watch parties for the debate tonight. This event was a chance for Democratic voters to come together in support of Vice President Kamala Harris's run for president and against former President Donald Trump.
Go Team Harris!
Trump is not interesting anymore. He's a boring old nuisance of a man who everybody has heard too much of.
For many of the attendees, Trump's relationship with the truth took center stage.
Obviously, the former president has been on the political scene for at least 9 years now. Everyone knows who he is. They know his voice. They know his cadence. They know his lies.
So I'm hoping that people see that and go, wow, did he really just say that? Yes, he did, and he has no business being in the White House.
Attendees also felt that Harris's plans for action outweighed Trump's performance in the debate.
And she's got plans, and she shared those.
This gave them the opportunity to see who she is, how she presents her policies, and what her vision is for this country.
While some opinions may have been changed tonight, the real effect of this debate will be seen this November in the election. From the Big Grove Brewery, this is Kayla Smith, DITV.
23 years ago, the terror attacks of September 11th, 2001 shocked the world. Hijackers took over 4 planes and crashed them into the Twin Towers and the Pentagon in Washington, D.C. The 4th plane crashed in a field in Pennsylvania. Out of the 2,996 people who died in the tragedy, 8 came from the state of Iowa, who were a part of all 4 attacks. Americans remember 9/11 as a day we will never forget. The Iowa House Hotel and the Iowa Memorial Union will now remain open through February. When the renovation plan for the IMU released, the hotel was supposed to close last May, but then was extended until November and now through Dance Marathon's big event. The hotel's 90-plus rooms will be renovated into a student health and wellness center. To celebrate the history of the hotel, there is a reception in the lobby every Friday and a memory box for guests to share stories. The student employees will be helped in finding new jobs throughout the IMU after the close.
We had a few tears here and there just because they were kind of worried about what they were going to do after we closed on November 3rd. So the fact that they don't have to look for employment during midterms or finals or pre-graduation has been really well-delivered news.
Now we're going to take a look back outside with Joel for the forecast for the week ahead.
Thanks, Hannah. If you take a walk around Iowa City, you may see some fall sights making an appearance. We'll soon start to see those beautiful fall colors of red, yellow, and orange. The leaves are starting to change colors and will soon fall to the ground, signifying the end of summer. But for now, Friday will be the closest we get to that fall weather over the weekend. It will be a high of 76 and a low of 62, with an overcast throughout the day. Stretching into the beginning of next week, the weather will be fairly consistent for once in Iowa. Plan for highs of 81 and lows near 60. The sun will finally peek through those 3 days. It should be good weather for the weekend. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks, Joel. Now, Sarah, it was a hard week for the Hawkeyes with that ISU loss, but I'm looking to turn a new page and I have some hope.
Yeah, I was at that game and I was a bit devastated in the stands after a last-minute field goal this past weekend to drop the Cy-Hawk game. The Hawkeye football team looks to get back above 500 before conference play. Troy will be taking their trip up to Kinnick Stadium from Alabama this weekend for week 3 of the season. While Troy is the main focus at practice this week, they are still trying to shake off the feeling of defeat to Iowa State so that they can take care of business with the upcoming Trojans.
I think every game is different. That one hurt a little bit more, but 24-hour rule, it kind of hit hard because we definitely want to win every game. Got to forget about it and then look forward to our next opponent in Detroit.
Just overemphasize like a 24-hour rule, like we can think about it that night, watch film the next day, but the second we come in Monday morning, we're on to the next week, on to our next opponent, and start preparing for them. So.
USC, UCLA, Oregon, and Washington joined the Big Ten over the summer, shaking up the conference play. DITV's news director, Johnny Voltman, has reactions from Hawkeye athletes on the outlook of the new conference.
To the gridirons of Kinnick Stadium, From the rolling greens of the Iowa Soccer Complex and Grant Field to the hardwood of Extreme Arena, the addition of 4 teams to the Big Ten over the summer is not only adding extra competition for Hawkeye athletics, but also additional travel to student athletes as well.
I thought it was a little questionable just because that's a pretty wide gap, but I do like it.
Competition is one thing most of the athletes have taken note of, as 4 former Pac-12 schools are coming in with strong teams, adding to an already stacked Big Ten conference.
There's just a bigger conference and in the sense of there's more teams that could be in the Big Ten championship. That's the only way I guess perceive it.
Adding a lot even to those numbers for the Big Ten, and so I think it's really exciting. It's gonna be really cool to see them. They're gonna add a lot of big competition for volleyball.
The only fall sport not receiving new teams is field hockey. With additional travel for the other teams, field hockey is sending their best wishes to their fellow Hawkeyes.
I feel for those athletes that are spending much more time traveling now to California, to and from those places. I feel for them, and I've been there having to skip class and work on an airplane and things like that.
Not fazed by the travel is because of a trust in the people around the teams, helping the team recover from games and staying on top of their schoolwork.
We are equipped very well with our resources and our academic advising and athletic advising, et cetera, in order to be prepared when we do travel.
Some athletes, though, are excited for the new destinations the Hawks will flock to, with the West Coast teams being thrown into the mix.
I love them, whether we playing here in Iowa City or if we playing in LA or if we playing in Maryland, it don't matter to me. As long as I can be around the boys and have fun, that's all I'm looking forward to.
I love traveling. It's my favorite thing outside of volleyball, and so my whole family's in California, so it'll be fun for me to spend Thanksgiving with them.
It'll be fun. I mean, Rose Bowl is a dope stadium. Midwestern kid, that's a dream to play out there, so I'll sacrifice the long flight for that.
The fall season is underway and the Hawkeyes are prepared and excited for the new look Big Ten. From the University of Iowa, Johnny Valtman, DITV.
And it was announced yesterday that 11 more Iowa and Iowa State student athletes joined the 2023 state gambling lawsuit, as well as an Iowa basketball equipment manager. Attorneys James Robert and Grant Gerlerman will represent the 11 who joined the lawsuit. The new plaintiffs include Iowa wrestlers Brennan Swafford, Corey Cabanban, and equipment manager Evan Schuster. From Iowa State, wrestlers, football players, and one member of the track and field team joined. As it's known, due to investigation, this means a loss of eligibility in the NCAA and potential criminal charges. More updates to give on this topic in the future ahead. Now, Hannah, are you going to be at this game this Saturday?
I will. I'll be in the stands cheering for the Hawks.
I will too.
Well, thank you for joining us online or listening to KRUI 89.7 FM.
We are here live from Iowa City every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8:30 a.m. and online anytime at thedailyiowan.com.
For Joel Keller and Sarah Gala, I'm Hannah Lipsky. See you again on Friday morning right here on DITV.